Welcome to the Simplify Your Life podcast. It's Coach Simona, and I'm glad you decided to tune in. Hey everyone! In today's podcast episode, we're going to talk about how to make healthy choices in life. And I will share with you my best tips on how to improve decision-making skills. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Simona, certified life coach and author of the book 111 Ways to Simplify Your Life. I make weekly podcast episodes on personal development, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe. Now, before we get into my actual tips on how to make healthy choices in life, I want to share with you a personal story to illustrate my point. I was very negligent towards my health, especially in my teenage years. I was smoking, drinking, and not getting enough sleep. Funnily enough, I felt as if I was making the best choices for myself at the time, like any other rebellious teenager. It was all fun and games until I started having panic attacks right after I turned 18. To say that it was the worst year of my life would be an understatement. Anyone who's had to deal with panic attacks knows what I'm talking about. That's the thing about choices. They all have consequences, and they all sway us into a healthy direction or an unhealthy one. So if you're focused on short-term pleasure over pain, you may make decisions that you will regret later. Many of us fall into the trap of victimizing ourselves. It's easy to blame the circumstances or say that someone else is responsible for our unhappiness or poor health. The truth is that we always have a choice. The choice to act like a victim and live in the past, or play with the cards that we've been dealt and create a life that's worth living. That brings me to the first step when it comes to making healthy choices in life. Be aware of the victim role. You know what I'm talking about. We've all played it once or twice. For example, your boss points out a mistake you made and you start to think that he hates you and is about to fire you. Or your spouse refuses to clean the dishes and you start nagging him about how you do everything around the house and nobody ever thinks about your needs as a human being. Why do we need to play the victim role in the first place? It's very simple actually. We're trying not to take responsibility for our choices. We already mentioned that every choice you make has consequences, and the difference between a healthy choice and an unhealthy one is the outcome. Pay attention to the moments throughout the day where you're not taking responsibility for your choices. What thoughts and stories are going through your mind? What are you ruminating about? Are you really that miserable and unfortunate, or is that something that you've been conditioned to believe? Question everything. The more questions you ask yourself, the better the questions will become. And the better the questions, the better the answers. The second important step is to realize that every small choice matters. Once you're aware of the negative stories that are going through your head and you realize that they're only part of your old victim mentality, it's time to pay attention to the small choices you make daily. If you want to make healthy choices, you need to stop interpreting reality in a way that fits your narrative. Whenever you catch yourself doing this, stop and reflect by asking yourself one simple question. Is this a fact? We often make unhealthy choices because we've developed an unhelpful habit first. Listen to episode 67 next if you want to dive deeper into the topic of habit formation and decision-making skills. But for the purposes of this episode, let's say that making healthy choices is closely related to changing your daily habits. I have 2 book recommendations on this topic. The first one is by James Clear, and it's called Atomic Habits. And the second one is by Alex Hine, and it's called Master the Day. Both of them will definitely help you figure out how to change your daily habits step by step. I will link them down below. Step number 3 is to be prepared to fail. This isn't something that you're gonna want to hear, but it's the truth. And you know, I like to be straight with you on this podcast and not sugarcoat things. Failing is part of life, and if you have a difficult relationship with any type of failure, maybe it's time to reframe the way you see failure in the first place. So why am I preparing you to fail? Because making 1 or 2 healthy choices is easy. What's important is the ability to stick to your healthy choices and not fall back into old behaviors and negative thought patterns. Now I'm going to give you a very simple exercise that you can try for yourself every time you're hesitating to make a certain choice or not. For this example, let's say that you're trying to cut off junk food, but you're having trouble sticking to your new habit of eating healthy. Ask yourself the following 3 questions. Number 1, why do I want to eat junk food right now? 2, what thoughts are going through my head? Am I really gonna feel better after I do it? Once you center yourself in the present moment and become aware of the choices you're about to make them. The important thing is to train yourself to make conscious choices. If you're consciously choosing to do unhealthy things, that's a whole another story, and it may have something to do with addiction or low self-esteem. If you think that's the case, I think you will find my video on building self-confidence very helpful. I recommend watching it after this one by visiting youtube.com/Coach Simona. Now, the moment you become aware of your thought patterns, you will slowly start craving all those guilty pleasures less and less. It's not about limiting yourself and playing the blame game. It's about making your own choices and accepting the consequences. It's about taking radical responsibility for everything that happens in your life. It's almost impossible to always choose healthy options. That's why you need to be compassionate with yourself, which is something I've dedicated an entire episode on. So if you want to learn how to develop self-compassion, make sure to listen to episode 109 after this one. The truth is that sometimes when you're angry, you may say something stupid to someone you love. Or you may drink half a bottle of wine or eat a whole box of chocolates. That's okay. We're only human. The past has already happened. It doesn't define you. Every day is a new chance to make better choices and create a life you won't need an escape from. You just have to choose to do it. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like it. And subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on my weekly podcast episodes. I'm sending you all my love, and I'll talk to you in the next one.